The former American President George Bush Sr. has died aged 94. He served in the Oval Office between 1989 and 1993, succeeding Ronald Reagan before losing out to Bill Clinton. He made a fortune in the oil business in Texas and also became head of the CIA.
In April, he was admitted to a hospital intensive care unit with an infection a week after the death of his wife, Barbara. His son, George W. Bush, who also became president, released this statement a short time ago. He described his father as a man of the highest character and said he was the best dad any son or daughter could ask for.
President Trump has paid tribute in the last hour. He said his example lived on and would continue to stir future Americans to pursue a greater cause.
The former American President Barack Obama has also paid tribute. He said America had lost a patriot and humble servant. Our North America editor, John Sopel, looks back at his life.
I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
That George Herbert Walker Bush should reach the highest office in the land almost seemed predestined.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
He was born into a family of wealth, privilege and politics. His father was a US Senator. George attended Yale before volunteering for the Navy in World War II. He was shot down over the Pacific. His rescue remarkably caught on film. Peacetime took him to Texas, where he made a fortune in the oil business. And then came the lure of politics. He was elected to Congress, served as an ambassador and became head of the CIA, before pitching to become the Republican presidential candidate in 1980. He lost to Ronald Reagan, but Reagan put him on the ticket and served as vice president. In 1988, he had another crack at the presidency, this time successfully. But there were new uncertainties, notably Iraq's surprise annexation of Kuwait in 1990. Margaret Thatcher told him to stand firm, apparently saying, "This is no time to go wobbly, George." He didn't.
Iraq will not be permitted to annex Kuwait. And that's not a threat, it's not a boast, it's just the way it's going to be.
A wide coalition was forged and Operation Desert Storm began. The ground war would last just 100 hours in a decisive victory for American military expertise and superiority.
I can report to the nation, aggression is defeated, the war is over.
The 1992 election pitched the patrician Bush against the young, charismatic and hitherto little-known Democratic governor from Arkansas called Bill Clinton. His clear advocacy of a new vision for America swept him to a decisive victory.
So help me God. Congratulations.
Within a decade, there was another Bush in the White House, George W. Bush Sr. was the last of America's Cold War leaders, and the demise of communism during his period was managed deftly as former Soviet satellites embraced the values of democracy and freedom. George Herbert Walker Bush remained active into old age, even parachute jumping in his 80s.
Attaboy!
And of course, the one constant throughout all that, his wife Barbara. They were married for over 70 years.